Hi guys, it's Rashana, the host of Loud Knowledge, and today we are going to talk about the Black woman vote. That's right. So, a quick question that I have to ask all of the beautiful Black women in the United States, just the United States. Yes. I have my own reasoning, but it's because the elections is coming up. So, are you Black or are you a woman first? Let me ask the question again. Being a Black woman, are you Black or a woman first? I will answer that question for myself later on in the night, but I want you to keep in mind that I am just coming as my opinion and basically hitting you with some facts, though, something to think about since we're about to go through the 2020 elections. Yes. Hopefully, we give Donald Trump the boot and we bring some fresh face in. But we need to make sure that we're choosing the right person this time. Because I think that after we elected Barack Obama 4 years straight, we kind of got a little comfortable. We thought, we would never get anything bad. No one's going to do anything crazy. But I think that Black women need to make a change and have a step up, in thinking about what you are first. Are you Black or are you a woman first? Because that will have you thinking about who to vote for. Most definitely. So, I want you to keep that in mind because a lot of people that support Black things like Democrats and things like that, a lot of people, even though they're Democratic, they still may not want the abortion rule. They don't want women to have their own choice. So you do need to think about that and hear them as a whole person. Like, what do they stand for? But first you need to ask yourself, what do you stand for? Let's talk about the mindset of the Black vote as a whole. So we have so many men incarcerated in prisons in the United States that the vote is a little skewed. Meaning that only Black women essentially are voting if you are thinking about African American standpoint. People of color, all of that. So, with Black women only being the ones to vote, we hold the burden if something goes wrong. Or we carry all of the weight of the Black vote. But we shouldn't have to. Because we do need to be selfish and think about ourselves sometimes. Because bottom line is, men are not always thinking about women. They're not. They do irrational things all the time when women are always there to clean up the mess. Do what we need to do to clean it up. Clean it up. But I'm tired of cleaning it up. I'm tired of doing that. So, the mindset of the Black vote. Should women have to carry the burden of that? Should we have to think about the whole entire race of African Americans? Or should we get a little selfish? I want to hear what you guys have to say with this because definitely it's something that I think about all the time. And I've had so many conversations with my friends. I have one friend that says she's a woman first. I have another friend that says she's Black first because, baby, race is all that matters to her when it comes to voting. But I do necessarily tell her, you can't say that you're sitting here, always talking about the immigrants and how they're going through so much right now if you're not even watching yourself. Women are going through a lot too. So do keep that in effect. My next question is, how does the mindset affect the women's vote as a whole? So, Black women are leading when it comes to education. We are the number one educated person in the United States. So, that means more Black women are in colleges than there are white women. More Black women are in colleges more than white men. That's very important. White men. We beat white men, right? That's funny. We beat white men, but they were like in slavery, they were beating us. Yes, I correlated that. Yep. So, women, I think, particularly the Black woman, needs to think about all of these things because it's important. It's our livelihood. We have a vote. women just got their vote in the 20s, meaning we've had our vote for what, like 100 years. I hope I'm doing my math right. I'm not a math major. So, but African Americans haven't had the right to vote for a long time. That hit in the 60s. We just really got free, if you want to think about it. And we're not even free because half of our brothers are incarcerated. So, is that free? As Meek Mill would say, what's free? Exactly. Free is when nobody else can tell you what to think. Okay? So, with black women leading in education, that means that we need to be very aware, very knowledgeable. We have these degrees, ladies. So we need to take these degrees with us to the polls to vote. To vote all the way to the polls. To show them that you are black, educated, and you're a female. You are a woman. Okay? A grown woman. And, I definitely think that's something that you should think about. So, what do you look for in elections? That's another thing that you should think about. What are you looking for? Because me personally, I'm looking for what they're saying about women. Because the abortion law is ridiculous. The whole pro-choice, they're getting rid of Planned Parenthood, all of this. So if they do that, do they understand that the child suffers too? If the woman suffers, the child suffers. If I'm being very frank. So I don't think people are thinking about the fact that women are bearing children. We bear a nation. I can't say it enough. We need to look at, and when you look at this election, you need to look at the past elections too. Who voted for Trump? Who voted for him? You need to look at that. Black ladies, you need to look at who voted. Because black men were out here voting for Trump, y'all. They were out here voting for Trump after he said that he really didn't care about women. He didn't say it, but he meant it. He shamed the disabled. He did all of this stuff. He was talking junk about women. He was talking junk about people of color. He wanted to take half of them back across the border. Like, he was really rude. So why, as a black man, would you vote for Donald Trump? I need answers. Why would you do that? What was you thinking? Who raised you? Couldn't have been your mama. Because you can't look at your mama and say, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. You ain't tell your mama. I know you didn't. Because if you did, you wouldn't have got no food on Thanksgiving. You wouldn't have. Period. And that's period. Because that's just a disgrace. Like, really? Really? So that is why I'm saying, black women, we need to start thinking about ourselves and don't think about the whole African American community, because bottom line is the men who are supposed to be our breadwinners, the king of everything, they are out here failing us and playing us like a violin, a fiddle. Well, my name is not Fiddler and I am not on Roots. So don't play games with me. Shit's ridiculous. Shit's crazy. I'm not with it. So, what are your views on black men? How are black men voting? So you need to definitely think about that. You need to think about that and think about the numbers. Definitely think about the numbers on who voted for Trump. Another question. The black man's vote has been limited already due to incarceration. You got to think about that too, because women, we do birth a nation. So we do have to think about everybody else too, because that black man is essentially our son, our brother, our dad, our uncle. So if they're incarcerated, they don't have a vote. You need to think about that. So when you're doing voting, you need to think about what they're going to do with prisons. Where's the money going? That's what you need. Follow the paper trail. I just told somebody that in class. If you follow the paper trail, you will know what's going on. We don't have the time to follow paper trails with the government right now because I'm going through too much. But yes, it's crazy. Another question you need to think about when you are racing to the polls, ladies, is should black women have to carry the weight of the black vote alone? Should we have to do the incarceration numbers? So you need to think about who is trying to bring that incarceration number down, because if they bring down the incarceration number. You get your brothers home. You get your dad home. You get your uncle home. You get your sister's man home. You get your man home. Everybody come home safely at night, until they shoot us down. But that's another topic. You get all this home and then they get to vote. So then you don't have the vote all on you. So that's something to think about. Should black women start swinging towards the women's vote over the black vote? Sometimes I think it's a little weighted. You definitely need to think about the fact that you are a woman. Yes, you're black, but you're a woman too. You have rights and you have needs. You have rights. Ladies, it's not cool to be out here telling somebody else what to do with their uterus. It's not cool. You didn't birth that uterus. You didn't build it. You didn't craft it. You're not God. So who are you to tell somebody else what they can do with their uterus? Do you have one? I want to ask the men, do you have one? I need a man that has a uterus to step forward. If you have a vagina and you are a male, step forward. I want to see this because it's ridiculous. I don't have time for this. I don't have time. So, women's rights this election. Think about that. I want you to think about abortions. What are they doing? Think about the kids, the little people, because they don't get to vote for themselves. Think about the little people because you are a woman and you birthed those little people. Think about that. What are they doing with that? Where's the money going when we're paying for like health care, when we're paying for things like orphanages? Okay, they're not orphanages, but yeah, where is that money going for the kids that don't have parents? Where's that money going? Foster care systems. Where is it going? Is it going there? Are they using it for the right things? Are these kids being treated well? Who is getting paid and how are we paying them? You need to be thinking about the future women's rights. Because if you take away some women's rights now, if you take away the abortion, that gives them the right to chain us up eventually. You need to think about that. Think about that. Because as soon as they shut us up for one thing, we're going to be all the way back to where we can't vote. Because what? History repeats itself. So ladies, think about that when you're marching to the polls. So, I said I was going to answer this question later on. It is later on, after 12 minutes. So, am I a woman first or black? As a black woman, I identify as a woman first when it comes to voting. Because of the things that I just told you, I don't want women to go back 100 years. I don't. It's important to me to be black, but to be a woman means so much to me. It means so much. We don't have time to play games, ladies. It means so much. You got to think about that. Like, we have women that marched for you to vote. They marched for little things. Like, they marched for crazy stuff. Like, we had to march for them to tell us that we could vote, that we were as equal as a male. Even though everybody knows that the first lady tells the president what to do. Everybody knows that. What? President Kennedy was nothing without Jackie. And Barack was nothing without Michelle. So what is going on? What is going on? He was nothing without Michelle. Think about that. I mean, we had to go to court just to keep our job when we got pregnant. Do you really want to go back to them days where they can fire you just because you decide to have a child? I'm telling you, ladies, you got to be selfish and think about you and your womanhood. You have the vagina. You hold the power. You push the baby out. You get the C-section. You're on bed rest. Yes, you have breast. You have to breastfeed. It's not them. And if they want to do all of that, tell them to try it. I would love for a male to try it. Try it. Wouldn't last a day. You have the menstrual cycles once a month. Not them. You go through that. You bleed once a month. So definitely think about the fact that you're a woman first. And then, definitely don't forget that you're black. Because they're cutting funding for that too. And look at who is supporting HBCUs, because that is the future of Black lawyers, Black journalists, Black doctors, Black engineers, Black nurses. That's the future. So if these HBCUs still have their doors open, then that means that your child still has a home, regardless if America decides they want to be racist again. But you know, America's been racist. Ain't nothing changed. We just get to buy a house this time, or we just aren't on fields. But slavery has turned into something else. So another book recommendation, since I brought that up, The New Jim Crow. Go check it out. Go read it. Definitely. And I will meet you at the polls. That's it with Loud Knowledge. I'm Rashana. Bye.